Aloha and welcome to Spirit Chat. Today I'm going to be talking about the harvest moon, which is today on September 13th. And just in case, for those of you who follow me are wondering, this podcast may sound a little bit different because I've had major technical difficulties with every single device that I use for podcasting. So I just am trying to get the podcast out for those of you who appreciate and enjoy the energy reports. And I'm now on my desktop computer, so it's going to sound a little bit different than how I've done it in the past, which actually will fall into some of what I'm talking about today because there's a lot of stuff that's been going on or will be going on with this full moon, kind of surrounding the full moon. As most of you know who have listened to me in the past, the full moon energy, uh, how it is intensified on the day of the full moon, but the full moon energy will last before and after the full moon as well. It's not just on that day. So you'll be experiencing some of these things that we're going to be talking about. You'll have experienced, earlier this week, and then you'll experience them going into next week and that sort of thing. So keep in mind that if you're listening to this podcast not on the full moon, it doesn't mean that you're not still having the effects of what's going on. The energy comes in earlier and goes out later. It just tends to peak on full moon times when I'm doing an energy report such as this. Anyway, I have been just a little update for those of you who are wondering, because I keep getting asked about it. I am working vigorously on the empath school at the empath university, and it always causes me technical difficulties if I'm doing something really good. So anytime that I'm doing spiritual work where I'm starting to teach something for those of you out there who may be teachers or whatever, anytime that I start getting on a path that is a heightened path or will raise a lot of vibrations, if I know I'm on the right track, I always know I'm on the right track when I start having major technical difficulties with every single device that I'm working on. This, coupled with what's kind of going on with the full moon, has been a disaster when it comes to doing podcasts and things like that. Most of my stuff's digital and electronic. So that's been rather fun. I actually did a podcast for you guys. I believe it was last week. It was such a good podcast too. Like, I was so excited about it. And I did a 40-minute podcast, recorded the whole entire thing. I was super stoked about how it turned out, and it recorded nothing. I was like frustrated and depleted, and just I couldn't believe it, but yet I could because I'd been working on my classes. So after I got over being really upset about it for a long time, then I thought, okay, I'm going to try this again because this is a really good subject. It's really good stuff. And I got into doing it again. And so I had it in a way that I could, sometimes on the devices that I use, I can't see if it's recording. And I had it in a way that I could see it and it wouldn't record past, 5 minutes or something like that, which was really irritating. So needless to say, I gave up. Podcast done. That flow was over. I missed it. And then I didn't get to upload it. No, it was a good podcast. You won't hear it now. Anyways, and so I wanted to try to podcast again on something different, and that's why this is probably going to sound a little bit different. Then that I almost forgot that my technical difficulties again carried over into, because it doesn't matter what I'm working on. So I did a really good Zoom class the other day for my mentorship class, and not everybody can show up on the mentorship class, and so they like to listen to it recorded. And of course, what happens? It wasn't my computer or my device, it was actual software. That didn't record either. Again, go figure. If I ever get this class recorded, I'll be very happy. Actually, if I get this podcast done and out to you guys, I'll be very happy. Anyways, so let's get into what's going on with this harvest moon. So there's a lot going on with this harvest moon, but it's going to feel a little bit different than some of the other moons because always have basically the letting go times and the let's start anew times. It's almost like every full moon is like a little mini New Year's Eve. Let's or New Year's Day or whatever. Let's release all the old and put everything behind us and start anew, start this clean slate this month. So that's a really good way to actually look at full moons because I think it's a good time to reset and recharge because things happen during the month where you might feel discouraged or you've laid out a goal or a plan and then you're like, well, why didn't it turn out this way? It's a nice time at full moon times on any full moon to wipe the slate clean and go, doesn't matter what happened, I'm gonna move forward and we're gonna reset, restart. So full moons are always a really good time to reset and restart. Just think of them as your mini New Year's Eves and celebrate them and just feel excited about your new venture for the month and move forward with that. So that's how I'd like you to look at the full moons. But with this full moon, there's going to be a few different things happening. Of course, one of the first things you probably noticed, such as I and my family have, is as you near the heightened energy, you'll start hitting disrupted sleep patterns. As the energy heightens, disrupted sleep patterns occur. And that would be things like feeling very tired early, potentially, maybe falling asleep on the couch for 5 or 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, you're up and you're up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Then you fall asleep for a few hours, then you wake up early. Or it could be that you're tired and you fall asleep, between 8 and 10 or something, and then you're up at 2 and you can't fall asleep until 6 or something. Just very disrupted sleep patterns where there's a lot of insomnia sprinkled in instead of having a good night's sleep, you're having bouts of that insomnia sprinkled in somehow. Might be 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the night, might be 7 or 8 times throughout the night, but that is always a pretty clear indicator when we're moving into a full moon that the energy is intensifying. And that's something that we just kind of notice and pay attention to. Happens every month, happens on clockwork. It's easy to tell when the energy starts to kick up a notch because you start sleeping really crappy, which is awesome. Anyways, so that is a thing right now. It's been happened for the last few days. And the other thing that is going on is, well, actually, there's several other things. Some of the other things that are going on is technical glitches. Go figure. Mine are not entirely just related to my class and, any spirit interference, but there is a lot of technical glitches going on with this energy. You would think it was Mercury retrograde 3000 or something, I don't know. But lots of all kinds of technical glitches, just different kinds of them. For instance, with me, my recordings have been off. I've had technical glitches with not my bank, but like some Amazon income stuff where things aren't registering. My phone has been not working where people can't hear me. Just things that are supposed to record are not recording, even things from your DVR to, your cell phone to anything, just lots of technical glitches. This is happening right now. So that is probably something that you may be aware of and noticing, which can really sort of throw a wrench in your day, which also leads straight into one of the other things that I'm going to talk about, which is there is a lot of it's very coaster-ish energy right now, where there's a lot of ups and downs, and so there's shifts and changes. And what I mean by that is nothing that's really going to probably disrupt uh, things in a major way by any means, but it might feel like it. But it kind of reminds me of is if you're going down a path and then there's a rock in your way, so you just kind of have to go around it. And, you have to make adjustments. So with this energy of this full moon, it just be flexible and don't worry about like there being some shifts and changes and things that are going to be happening around you. Like just go with the flow, so to speak, because a lot of things will not be going as you'd planned or seen them. And they're going to be things that you probably couldn't anticipate, so they're going to be spur of the moment, think on your feet type of shifts and changes, like, oh, now I have to resolve this issue, or I didn't see this happening, so how are we going to resolve this? These shifts and changes will be things that will be resolved fairly quickly. It's not something that it's like it's going to shift your whole entire plan of where you were going, or your whole entire path now moves over into an entirely another direction. They're going to be quick shifts and changes, and then you'll be right back on track to where you were before. So it's not anything that's going to pull you off of your track. It's just going to be some little juking or whatever, just kind of moving with the flow of the energy. And that'll be fine as long as you don't read into it too much, as long as you don't stress too much about, these little hiccups that you might be experiencing. Don't worry about it too much, and just know that basically everything's going to flow still nicely in the way that you're going, and you might just it's just going to keep you on your toes a little bit. But sometimes that's hard when it comes with one of the next things that's really happening with this harvest moon, which is people are really feeling an emotional charge with this. And so you might find that your kids, your spouse, your loved ones, your coworkers, whoever, if they're kind of reacting overly emotional to something, or they're being, more emotional than normal, their reactions are a little bit extreme or a little bit more on the emotional side. That's really coming along with this harvest moon as well. And, sometimes when you're trying to navigate through the shifts and changes real quick, it can trigger you being feeling a little bit more emotional, because your emotion level will be a little bit heightened with this energy. So sometimes they go hand in hand, sometimes they don't, but we will a lot of people are experiencing, or you may notice that people around you are more emotional than normal. Not in a way that, again, should be any concern, because there's a lot of really cool stuff that's coming with this energy too. Um, the other thing that is really probably highlighted with this, which I think is interesting because it matches to me the name Harvest Moon, is there's a ton of busy energy with this. So, what I mean by that is you may find that you're either urged to, or you all of a sudden have a lot of tasks to do, or they might be work related, where all of a sudden you're super just slammed at work, or you thought maybe something, you maybe thought it was going to go along one way, or you were just being regular busy, right? And then no, all of a sudden you had all these tasks to complete in a very short amount of time, so you might feel time crunched and feel like you're having to line up a lot of stuff. And a lot of this will relate to work and career, but it could relate to household things, or school things for your kids or whatever. But there's gonna be all of a sudden, there tends to be a lot of stuff that needs handled when you were kind of not expecting it, when you were kind of like, it wasn't something you were planning, and then all of a sudden there's all this stuff that needs to be handled fairly quickly. So that's kind of been interesting. The busy energy, that can be a little bit stressful because you feel under pressure to complete tasks or get these things done, because with this busy energy, they tend to have a short timeline. So it's not like you're going to have, like, a week, well, maybe a week, but you're not going to have like a month or a couple weeks to complete these tasks. They tend to be more urgently related, to where you have to do them in a quick timeline for some reason, and you have to get something completed fairly quickly before something else. So you may have deadlines that all of a sudden appear or are moved up, and then that's okay though, because this busy energy isn't going to last a long time. There's going to be a very zen energy that comes after it. So it's almost like the busy energy is coming in and moving really quickly and kind of choppily in, and it's happening right before we're going to have some really zen downtime. So that's going to be really nice too. And with this harvest moon, besides all these things that I was talking about, where we're having some kind of roller coasterish energy, being flexible, emotional, disrupted sleep, technical glitches, and busy energy, we're also there's still very high manifestation energy with this. And with that, a really strong creative flow that's coming through. And with both the high manifestation energy and the creative flow energy that's coming through, that will be bringing a lot of clarity on, like, so if you've been working on a goal or creating something or really trying to manifest something coming into your life, or and hopefully you have been, because we've been talking about it for a couple months, because September and October are going to be super high manifestation months. um, as you're kind of lining those out, sometimes people line out manifestation tasks, or they line out different things that they want to have come to fruition, and then or they put the general outline down, and then they don't really know how to complete those, or like what the details of the picture is going to look like, which is entirely okay. And that's what we want you to do when you're working with manifestation energy anyways, is we want you to start with the general overall feeling of what you're trying to achieve. What feeling are you trying to achieve in September and October moving forward? What feeling are you trying to manifest? Is it more freedom? Is it more less stress? Is it feeling very relaxed? Is it feeling abundant and secure, instead of time off or more money or this whatever? You remember, you want to concentrate on the feeling there. Feeling secure with your or and stable, might be something that you're wanting to strive for, instead of seeing that your paycheck raises or something like that. So whatever feeling that you're putting out there and you're wanting to achieve, you can then make a mini outline on how that feeling might be achieved by you. So maybe you create this, or maybe you make this shift, or maybe you go on vacation or whatever. So you can definitely write an outline so that you can get a visual. But with this harvest moon and this time, there will be a little bit of clarity that will help you sort of see how that may definitely pan out for you. And so that's kind of cool. The other thing with this September, one of the biggest things I think with this September harvest moon is it. Oh, and before I get into that, just to leave you hanging a minute, not meaning to, but it just happened to pop in my head. This September harvest moon comes on the 13th, and some people talk about that being a big deal. Some people talk about it not. I don't think that really has. My personal opinion is it doesn't have anything really. The date doesn't have anything to do with the energy and what's happening. You might feel connected to the date or numerology or whatever, and that's totally fine. But it's not like it really matters. But one of the biggest thing with this moon is you may not feel the intensity as as you will with other full moons, how you can really feel, especially if you're sensitive or psychically sensitive or empathic, because empathic people are very aligned with lunar energy. So if you're an empath or whatever, and normally you feel that heightened energy, here's the interesting thing with this: it is different from a lot of the full moons we've seen recently. Very, very different. Is the energy is probably most likely, besides the things we talked about, the energy overall, when you generally feel it, is going to feel a lot more subtle, but the strength behind it is 3 times more powerful. So, what I mean by that is, let's just say, and some of the past full moons in the last 6 months or year or something, usually you can feel, especially like I said, if you're psychically sensitive or empathic, you can feel energy surrounding the moon. Whether you tune into it, don't tune into it. Usually there's an energy that you feel with it, and then you'll be like, oh, this full moon's feeling really intense. So that means the energy behind it is really strong. That's what I mean. It's not always necessarily super strong just because the energy feels super strong. With this full moon, the energy is going to feel a lot more subtle, but the energy behind it is extremely powerful. So, how you would imagine that is, instead of like maybe a full moon energy would feel like a river, like a strong river, and you can see it, you can feel it, and when you're standing in the water, you really can feel the push and the pull, and you can just visually see it coming at you. You're almost scared to get in it. You're afraid it might wash you down. That's how full moon energy a lot of time feels. Well, this one's going to feel more like a lake or something like that. Now, I'm just giving you an analogy here, so it's not, lakes don't actually work this way, but or maybe an ocean or something. It'd be probably better to say an ocean, but um, where the top of the water seems very glassy or very non-disruptive, just very stagnant kind of, or just very a soft flow, just very gentle, very, very, very chill on top. And then there's a insanely strong undercurrent under it, insanely strong. So if you were to maybe float in the water and put your feet in the water, the current would be so strong below that it would move you extremely rapidly. So don't be tricked by this full moon thinking that, well, it doesn't feel as strong, so I don't feel like I have to invest, or like I'm not feeling the urge to, really work with this new moon or full moon energy, because that is really the opposite of what's been going on with these full moons. Normally, you can feel it, and you can gauge the intensity of the energy behind it really fairly well. You can feel it, you can see, you can see it, you're observing it, and you're in the river. This one's very different. It's gonna feel a lot calmer with an insane strength behind it. So that's a little bit tricky sometimes, because I think that people then underestimate the the strength of what's coming with this. And with this one in particular, that current, that strength is the manifestation energy and the basically the creation energy. It's super intense and super high. So you will still want to be really placing goals and creating, putting systems in place or ideas in place or writing down things or journaling. We have a really cool law of attraction journal at Spiritual Guru Box that people have been using. They love it. It's super cool because you can actually um, uh, you can put it in the microwave and it erases. Like, so after you use it for a month or whatever, you can actually reuse it again. It's really cool. Anyways, so get a journal, get a piece of paper, start putting things down on paper, physically be able to visualize them, because that will help with this strong current. Now you've put a visual on it, a physical visual of what you're trying to create and what you're trying to lay out. So that would be my suggestion, because of the calm appearance, but the strength of the current. So, anyways, I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that this podcast records. If it's up, it did. I can't see it right now. Anyways, and for those of you who are enjoying the spirit chats, definitely I will have that posted below in the spirit chat text. Sorry, and those are texts that I send out with different energy shifts and stuff like that. If you want to get on that list, definitely text spirit chat one word to that number below, and you'll get on that list. And also make sure that you stay in contact. I have my website empowered-empath.com, and I just ran a reading special for those of you who are wondering if I do readings, or if you want to get on my email list. I do a lot of specials, and so that's a really good place to get on my newsletter list, because I don't do a lot of specials. I kind of take that back. I do specials a few times a year on readings. So, and now I'm booked clear out like into like holiday time at this point. But so you might want to get on there for that. If you like to have the text, that's been super crazy successful. And definitely stay tuned for the Empath University, because that has been built. I tell people it's kind of like I started building a playground, because of course I've been doing the empath stuff for years now. I mean, I've been specializing in empath everything for 10, 15 years, and now all of a sudden it's super popular, so that's kind of funny. But anyways, if you're an empath, or if you're interested in an empath university, you definitely want to get on that list, because we started building something small. I tell everybody it's turned into like the Mall of America at this point. It's turned into like this giant class, and there's a lot of moving parts, and a lot of stuff for empaths is going to be happening at this empath university, and it's awesome. People are loving it. I've been showing people, and they're like, wow, this is crazy how much info you have here, and how much I relate to this, and how much this is going to help people. So I'm loving it. I'm so excited for you guys. Anyways, until next time, enjoy the harvest moon. Comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Comment below. I've been trying to go in within the first 24 hours and talk to you guys. I love to hear your comments, so I'd love to hear those. And take some time to make your dreams a reality, manifest some stuff. Yeah. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Aloha.